What happens when 7 brothers are magically turned into birds? Join a brave sister on an epic, daring quest to save her family in The 7 Ravens.
In a quaint village lived a man and his wife, blessed with 7 lively sons, but the father yearned for a daughter. Their wish came true when a little girl, fragile and delicate, was born, filling their home with immense joy. To ensure her health, she needed a quick baptism, so the father sent his eldest son to the village spring for sacred water. Eager to help, the other 6 brothers joined him, creating a playful bustle. In their youthful eagerness, as each boy tried to be first, the precious jug slipped, tumbling deep into the cool, dark well with a splash. The frightened boys stood frozen, not knowing what to do, too scared to return home and face their father's disappointment. Back at home, time ticked by, and the parents grew worried as their sons did not return. "They must be playing games, those mischievous boys," the father grumbled, his impatience growing with each passing minute. He feared for his little daughter, whose life hung by a thread without the baptism. In a moment of terrible anger, he cried out, his voice laced with frustration, "I wish my sons would all turn into ravens." An instant later, a sudden, powerful whoosh of wings filled the air above his head. He looked up, his heart sinking, just in time to see 7 coal-black ravens flying swiftly away, disappearing into the bright sky. The parents were heartbroken. Their angry curse could not be undone, despite the deep sadness of losing their 7 sons. They found comfort in their sweet little daughter, who soon grew strong and beautiful, her laughter filling their quiet home. For many years, the girl, now a young maiden, knew nothing of her brothers. Her parents carefully avoided mentioning them, trying to protect her from the painful truth. But one sunny afternoon, she overheard whispers from villagers, calling her lovely but blaming her, unknowingly, for the grave misfortune that had befallen her 7 brothers, words that pierced her young heart like a thorn. Disturbed by the discovery, the maiden hurried to her parents and asked tearfully if it was true, and what had become of her brothers. The weight of their secret, finally too heavy to bear, her parents revealed the tragic tale, explaining that her birth was only an innocent cause of heaven's will. However, the brave maiden took it to heart, feeling a deep, unyielding desire to save her brothers. She found no peace until, one secret morning, she set out on a grand adventure into the vast world, determined to find and free them, no matter the cost. She carried only a cherished golden ring from her parents, a loaf of peasant bread for hunger, a small clay pitcher of water for thirst, and a tiny foldable wooden chair for moments of rest on her arduous journey. The maiden journeyed onwards, her spirit unwavering, traveling far, far to the very edges of the known world. Her path first led her to the sun, blazing bright and golden in the sky. However, its heat was too fierce, its glow too intense, casting shadows with its overwhelming warmth. Whoosh went the wind, and the sun seemed to murmur of consuming little children with its fiery embrace. Frightened but resolute, the maiden quickly turned away, realizing this was not the place for her gentle quest. Her journey then led her to the distant moon, a silent silver orb hanging high in the frigid night. But here, the air was far too cold, biting and sharp, making the maiden shiver. The moon, with its pale, stern face, seemed awful and malicious, its gaze chilling her to the bone. When it spotted the small, shivering child, a low, eerie voice seemed to whisper, I smell the flesh of men." A deep whimper of fear escaped the maiden. Horrified yet brave, she swiftly turned and fled from the moon's icy grasp, determined to find another path. Finally, she arrived among the twinkling stars, who were wonderfully kind and gentle, shimmering with friendly light. Each star, a tiny beacon of hope, sat comfortably on its own little glowing chair amongst the cosmic dust. The morning star, especially bright and wise, arose with a benevolent smile, its light softly tinkling. It offered her a shining drumstick from a succulent roasted chicken, explaining, "Take this, brave maiden. If you do not have this special drumstick, you cannot open the mysterious glass mountain. And know this, for your heart's longing, in the glass mountain your 7 beloved brothers await their freedom." The maiden took the precious gift, her heart filled with new hope. With the precious drumstick carefully wrapped in a soft cloth, the maiden continued her arduous journey, her spirits lifted. She walked for many, many miles, her eyes fixed on the horizon until she finally saw it, the magnificent and mysterious glass mountain shimmering in the distance. The mountain was immense and smooth, its surface like polished glass. She reached the formidable door, which stood firmly shut, and knew it was time to use the morning star's gift. Eagerly she unwrapped the cloth, her fingers trembling with anticipation, but to her utter dismay, the cloth was empty. The magical drumstick was gone, lost somewhere along her long and challenging path. A heavy thump-thump echoed in her chest as fear began to creep in. What was a brave maiden to do now, faced with such a cruel twist of fate? Her quest to rescue her beloved brothers seemed impossible without the key to the glass mountain. Despair began to knot in her stomach, but her love for her brothers was stronger than any fear. With incredible determination, she gripped a small, sharp knife she carried for her journey. Taking a deep breath and with a silent prayer in her heart, the courageous sister made a great sacrifice. She cut off one of her own little fingers. With unwavering resolve, she placed it into the keyhole of the giant glass door. Miraculously, the door slowly, with a soft squeak, yielded to her sacrifice and opened, revealing the way inside. Stepping inside the shimmering, crystalline interior of the glass mountain, the maiden was immediately met by a friendly face. A tiny ancient dwarf, no taller than her knee, with a long white beard and twinkling eyes, scurried towards her, holding a small lantern. "My child, what brings you to this mountain?" the dwarf asked, his voice soft and kind. "I am searching for my brothers, the 7 ravens," replied the maiden, her hope rekindled by his gentle demeanor. The dwarf chuckled softly. "Ah, the Lord Ravens are not home just yet, but if you wish to wait, come right in." And with a gesture, he invited her further into the magical dwelling. The kind little dwarf then bustled about, bringing in the ravens, dinner, 7 small plates, each piled with delicious food, and 7 tiny glasses, sparkling with fresh drink. The maiden watched, her heart thumping with anticipation, knowing this was her chance to connect with her lost brothers. With careful steps and the dwarf watching kindly, she ate a tiny morsel from each of the 7 plates, tasting a little bit from each. Then from each of the 7 small glasses, she took a gentle sip, leaving just enough for the returning ravens. But in the very last glass, with a soft plink, she secretly dropped the golden ring she carried, a keepsake from her parents, hoping her brothers would recognize this precious token. Suddenly, a distinct whirring of wings and a gentle rushing sound filled the air, announcing a grand arrival. The little dwarf's face lit up, and he turned to the maiden, his eyes twinkling. "Now, the Lord Ravens are flying home," he whispered excitedly. The maiden's heart pounded with a mix of fear and fervent hope, knowing this was the moment she had awaited for so long. She quickly, but silently, ducked behind the towering glass door, her breath held tight, eager to witness their return without being immediately seen. She watched intently as the magnificent black ravens circled once, then gracefully landed inside their mountain home, ready for their evening meal. The 7 ravens soon appeared, landing gently, eager for their dinner and a refreshing drink. They approached their places at the carved wooden table, but confusion rippled through them. One by one, they peered at their plates and glasses. "Who has eaten from my plate?" one rasped. "And who has drunk from my little glass?" another questioned, with a concerned murmur. "It was a human mouth!" they all exclaimed, their voices filled with wonder and a hint of trepidation. Finally, the seventh raven, reaching the very bottom of his glass, felt a small, hard object roll against his beak. He looked closer, and with a gasp, saw it was the tiny golden ring, a cherished keepsake from his parents. A wave of recognition washed over him, and he whispered, "God grant that our sister may be here, for then we shall truly be free." As the seventh brother uttered his heartfelt wish, the maiden, who had been watching from behind the door, her heart swelling with emotion, stepped forward. Her presence was like a burst of magic. In that instant, with a soft, shimmering glow, all 7 majestic ravens transformed back into their human forms, their long enchantment finally broken. Joyful cries filled the air as brothers and sister embraced, tears of happiness streaming down their faces. They kissed and hugged, their bond stronger than ever. Together they left the glass mountain, and with hearts full of gratitude and love, they returned home to their waiting parents, a reunited and happy family at last. And so, the brave sister and her 7 brothers lived happily ever after, their home filled with renewed joy and laughter. This magical journey teaches us that the power of family love is truly boundless and can overcome any obstacle. No matter how big the challenge, with courage in our hearts and determination in our steps, we can always find a way to help those we care for and bring joy back into our lives. Always remember to be brave, never give up, and cherish your family above all, for their love is the greatest treasure. Their adventure reminds us that even when things seem impossible, hope and love can make miracles happen.
Ever dreamed of being the hero? Now you get to be the star. Your adventure starts at TalesMio. Visit talesmio.com now.